Greg, all right. So the zoning administrators, this is a reorganization meeting. I'll call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. Tuesday, March 21st, 2023, here in the town of Georgia, Chris Maternal meeting room. First order of business is for the board to elect a chair.
I make a motion, nominate Susanna Brown as chair.
I'll second it. Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Greg, you're muted. You said
Let's
aye.
try. Aye.
All right, I will now turn the meeting over to Susanna.
All right, we need a nomination for vice chair.
I nominate Jill Granville.
No. I nominate James Powell.
I'll second that. Any discussion? I'm fairly sure that he's willing to do what he did last year.
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. We're not gonna elect a clerk because we now have Colleen, so we don't need a clerk.
Thank
So
you.
that, so you got out of it, Greg.
I
Making
got out
your
of it.
job so much easier.
That's right.
All right, we do have an addition on our agenda.
It's the categorized for category for daycare under commercial, but one can do that under other business, but
Just gonna add it so that we don't forget. Okay, that's all.
We don't have minutes for tonight, right?
We, for some reason, we do not have minutes
you don't
on
have the
here.
minutes.
Um,
I'll get them.
but that's okay. We got plenty to do. We can do the minutes next time. I'm not worried about minutes. First up, zoning variance for Skylar Dines. So a lot of paperwork here, and see if I can find whoever is here for that.
Okay, come right up here, keep the table here.
And I'm just gonna read a little background here. So this is BP 006-23, Skylar Dines, hereafter referred to, is that how you say your name, Dines?
Yes, ma'am.
Hereafter referred to as applicant, requesting a variance of setback required to erect a 14/30 accessory structure. The parcel is located at 1822 Reynolds Road within the AR1 district. Parcel is 1.14 acres in size, benefited by 111 feet of road frontage along Reynolds Road. Applicant proposes a reduction in the current setbacks of 50% in order to accommodate the building. Parcel at its widest point is 150 feet and 375 feet.
I brought them out here on the board, and I looked at it's really narrow, it's a long, narrow lot, so,
Which side do you want?
yeah.
Yeah,
Right side?
as we're looking at the map there, the back left corner, actually left-hand side.
Okay,
So north, I believe that would be.
Time out.
Yeah.
We didn't swear people in, so I just want to do that before we get too
I
far.
apologize.
So, no, that's all right. I didn't think of it till I started reading that, so. Everybody that's here, it's not a board member. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, hi Lisa,
Hi, sorry, I'm late.
that's okay. You're not as good as
You're the
Dan.
chair.
All right, so now explain.
Yeah,
your-
Yeah, it's this lot here. So
That's
back
your
in-
house.
back in Here.
It is the northwest corner of the lot there. There's currently a swing set there. Yes, so, I'm looking to put a 14/30 accessory shed. It's pre-built. It'd be dropped on site. The setbacks I feel are onerous. Even my house is only 24 feet, from the property line to the west there. Just seeking to, get parity at least with my house on the lot.
And your neighbor to the west, I assume that's to the west, or, yeah, what's that right there that Doug's,
That would be their mound system.
okay. That's why it didn't look like a structure, but I just wanted to make sure.
Correct.
And is there some kind of structures back there?
No structures back there. I mean, I'll make a point to show that my neighbors to the west do have an accessory building, directly on their property line. It's a bit of a smaller shed.
That's what I was,
Back in here.
yeah.
That's a tree.
Oh,
So
those
trees up there. Pine tree. Yeah, those are just shade talking about.
So is there shed right up in the corner
Oh,
of your
there-
property?
No,
Oh, there's
no.
over on the
Go,
west
go
side.
to the, septic system, go directly left,
That
right there, right there.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I have Google Maps up here.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I did have a sketch in my application packet.
Yeah,
Yes, but I photocopied it. didn't do a good
Yeah.
job
Understood.
photocopying.
I apologize.
Well,
I didn't bring copies. so I
Murdered it,
apologize.
so. Okay, so. I don't see.
And
any
your lot
problem.
is super small anyway because of
Yeah.
old zoning
It's
regulations.
not like
right.
you're encroaching on somebody else's something, their house is not close or.
That is not. That's sorry.
This one right here that you,
yeah.
Can't really-
That's why I brought it.
better to look at the screen.
Mhm.
All right. Anybody got any questions, comments? Anybody else want to ask a question?
It's just gonna be a shed, it's gonna be no working out of it, no business.
Just storage.
Is there gonna be anything stored outside of the shed?
And that's the intention of the shed is that everything. Yes, sir. Nothing will be stored outside. It's so I can, make sure I've got plenty of space to store things inside the shed. Yeah. A lawnmower, sports equipment, all that stuff. So.
Good question, though. Greg, you got any questions?
Just wanted to make sure, it sounded like from his description that it's gonna be behind the house, and that was my biggest question, but that sounds fine.
So you could, it is behind my house, so it would be, you can see the driveway extending, northward on my property. Directly adjacent to the garage, there's a small section of driveway. If you just continue that in a straight line back, the shed would be, directly due north, from where you can see kind of a car parked there.
So you said it's gonna be right where the swing set. is?
Right where this one is, right? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Glenn gave me the idea.
All right, if there's no more questions, I will take a motion to close this hearing.
And make a motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye,
Anybody opposed? Okay.
Pretty simple. Thank you.
Okay, thank
Anything like
you.
that?
My permit will get,
They'll, after deliberations, we'll have a decision tomorrow for you, and I'll give you a call and then we can.
thank you, Mr. Burke.
Yeah.
Members of the board, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a
Okay.
good evening.
Next up, Jeff and Mary Murray. Come join us up here. This is CU 001-23. Jeff Murray, referred to as applicant, requesting conditional use for operating a home occupation of an automobile repair shop. The parcel is located at 3186 Hybrids Road within the AR1 zoning district. The original parcel is 14.56 acres, benefited by 216 feet of road frontage along Hybrids Road. The applicant proposes the use of an existing garage located on the property that has an addition in May of 2022. Property consists of a single-family dwelling, 2 accessory structures, and the newly expanded garage, which is served by an existing separate driveway off Hybrids Road. The building to be used is 2,064 square feet and will be 100% dedicated towards the business. An RBES is on file, and you will have to explain what that is. It's an RBES.
That
That's the state of Vermont. Form for heating. All of that, forget exactly what.
Oh, okay, got it. I looked it up and I couldn't remember when I just read it. Okay.
The acronym.
All right. We got this one on a map.
I just have the site plan up there. I mean, there's. To the back of this is basically, well, it's town of George's land, to the back of this is all just woods in the back, and then the closest neighbor is that. In the front corner there,
Mike, somebody, Donnell or somebody.
so.
So their property line actually stops behind their house, then your property kind of shoots back behind them.
Yeah, right about where the line is, just where the driveway starts to go at an angle, their property line's right about there.
And then Smith is the one way behind you, or?
To the backside of it, yeah.
You know what size your house is, how many square feet?
Not up this.
More or less.
I wanna tell you, it's just over 2,000. But I'm not positive on
It's probably pretty close.
that.
Your lot goes way back. Is that right?
Yes, yeah, it goes on the other side of the wetlands in the
This is
middle
the,
there.
this is the lot here. So it's like this long, narrow lot.
Yeah.
So this is town of Georgia back here in the back.
Mhm. Okay. So,
Me neither.
we've got this list of things you're gonna store, tires. So you've got like I don't know what you've got for some kind of shelter to block up tires. You have fence or?
They're on the, basically, there's a shrub line on the backside of the property. My tires are right behind the building, so you cannot see them
Okay,
from any,
and your waste oil, does that get stored inside?
that gets stored inside. And then Georgia Auto picks it up and they burn it for heat.
Yeah.
No sewer or anything in there running water or
Yeah.
anything.
So that was the question. It says not more than 50% of the residents, but I think if your residence is more or less the same size as the structure that you use, and count that as 50% of your overall. And you're estimating, I thought I saw 6 to 8 trips a day or something like that.
6 to 8 vehicles, yeah, a day.
Are any neighbors here?
No,
Are there anybody online for this? If you can just unmute and. There's somebody else on here a minute ago that disappeared, so. Brad's not here for this. I don't know who that, Martha's not here for that, so. Okay.
Have you talked to your neighbors? Do they know what you're doing or?
Yeah.
They're all right. I mean, really, the neighbor that you'd be bothering the most is the guy who's.
yeah, I help Mick out with his car and whatnot, so.
Yeah, I mean, we sent letters to the butter and I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, I'm sure he sent letters, but you know, the mail system in Georgia left. The mail system overall is less than ideal, so I'm just wondering if you talked to any of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody got any questions, problems with this?
What was your hours of operation?
6 to 2:30. Yeah.
I saw
Is
it
that
somewhere.
5 days?
It's just Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yep.
So you can drive the school bus, right?
Yep.
The state is all right with your road access for that? Is it wide enough and all that stuff?
So yeah,
We were
I
waiting on
wanted
that.
to, wanted to do this. It's an existing driveway. I'm
Yeah.
having to get a V-Trans before we actually issue the permit for it.
Okay,
But I wanted to get through the conditional use first before we. did
well, if there's
the-
any issues, they'll just tell them what.
They'll just tell the widen it or anything like that. I, it's been there for a long time.
Yeah, I know, the driveways have been there.
Yeah,
Like,
One of our new things is to have a 30-foot radius, and I have no idea what the radius is on your driveway
they'll
right
tell
now.
them. Yeah,
but-
they're making one of the others that are here tonight change theirs, so.
Okay. Just,
Okay.
you know, which,
It'll just be.
so it's for the fire department, because their trucks are
that's
so
fine.
long now, they want that so that they can get into these.
Yep.
But other than that,
Noise and stuff will only be contained inside.
Yeah, yeah, all the work's inside, and I try to keep it so that if I'm out there at 6 and got something going on, I make sure the doors are closed so that it doesn't really expand out.
any question?
No, straightforward.
This one is. They get more fun.
Told you guys, I put the easy ones first.
All right, we don't have any more questions.
And make a motion to close the hearing.
Next second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
You want to just reach out to me tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll give you a call.
Okay.
Thanks, Doug.
All right, next up, Doug Martin. Oh, and that guy's online, is that right?
Brad's online.
Okay,
Are you, oh, yeah, are you changing that? Brian, actually,
That was the
Brian
one I had.
was up first, but that's up to you. If you
What?
want to. I,
oh, did I, okay,
yeah, so Brian Bevins was up first.
I just went by the package,
Yeah,
the packets are on there.
Did we change it?
no,
Yeah.
just the way they're in order.
I'm the correct one here. Where it is,
That's a sheet in the end there.
oh, is it a separate? outside one?
Oh, yeah, you're on board. Cool.
Okay, Brian Bevins. Brian Bevins. It's, everybody found it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll find it. I know where it is.
it's a separate one, it's not in the packet.
Oh, okay.
This is SP 001-23. Brian Bevins, hereafter referred to as applicant, requesting site plan review for a 4-lot multi-household dwelling. Parcel located at 10 Ethan Allen Highway within the AR3 residential high-density zoning district. The original parcel is 2.3 acres in size, benefited by 126 feet of road frontage along Ethan Allen Highway. The applicant proposes an addition on the north side of the existing home, Unit 1, containing a 1-car carport to serve the existing home, and 3 new 3-bedroom townhomes, Units 2 through 4, with attached 1-car garages to create a 4 multi-household dwelling. The multi-unit dwelling proposed to be serviced by widened existing driveway. The new driveway will be 20 feet in width with radii improvements per the V-Trans specifications. The project will be served by a new on-site wastewater system and on-site water supply, which has received state approval. Current wastewater system will be abandoned. New water supply will replace the existing on-site well. Okay. Now you're on the map. Upstairs. Hello. Here. Hello.
Hello,
Are you Brian?
I am not, I'm Graham Tidman, I work for.
Oh, yes.
Berg.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You haven't been here, at least you haven't been here lately.
I haven't, no, first time for me.
Okay. You know, but- So, tell us a little more about your project here. These are gonna be rental units?
Yes, yep, the intention is for them to be rentals, yep. Yes, just the existing 3-bedroom home, I believe, is currently a rental, and the other 3 will be as well.
And how big are the proposed new units?
Um,
3 bedrooms also?
Like they're about 30 by 30.
They're all gonna be 3-bedroom units?
Yes, yeah, all 4 units will be 3-bedroom.
We'll look at this one. Oh, I came in and got it, that's why I have it, sorry. You have maps, do you have some more maps for this one? Nobody got maps except me, because I came and got one from you. Or are you gonna put it up
Yeah,
there?
I'm gonna put it up here for some
Okay.
reason, we can just shut off, so coming back in. For those. coming in-
That's Matt there, right?
Yeah, it's right here on this board here. Actually, anybody who just came in, there's a sign up sheet out there, if you could please sign in.
This for you. But you're not doing it.
Yeah.
So you're gonna fill when you build those?
There will be,
Gonna built into the bank or,
there will be some fill in the back there, yes, yeah.
cause there is a house kind of down below that, right behind it, correct?
That sounds right.
Sort of
yeah.
like right here is a house, but it's down over the bank from,
Mhm. Yeah, there will be some fill in the back. We've proposed silt fence there. And,
I'm trying to figure out the whole. Where the water is gonna go for runoff there from your roof and whatnot. And not affect your neighbor down over the back. I don't know, is anybody else here for this? I don't know who that neighbor is. You know who owns that property? It's this right here, Hammer and Jumrello or wherever it is. Cause they own this around like so. I guess they're not here, but.
I think stormwater will, just sheet in that direction. The
Is that
project's, I
grassed or wooded or I have no idea what you got going on back there.
believe it's currently, clear there and grassed.
Primarily off the back of the bank, it's wooded.
10 now, is that right?
Yeah, some grass.
I would think if it's that steep of a slope, it's got some trees on it. I really hope so.
There's a,
Good on there.
Says it around it, but it's
I don't have smaller ones of that. New one, you just send it over.
does look like most of the trees are on the neighbor's property and not on this property. You have to get a stormwater permit for this?
It's under the half acre.
That's what I was thinking. That's why I'm a little concerned because they're not telling you what to do, so I'm a little worried that you're feeding water right down into your neighbor's driveway or house or whatever, but hopefully it will go kind of across this way. So it's not, because if it goes straight down, that's where his driveway and house are. It's like right out.
it.
Yeah.
I think most likely the majority of it will be directed towards the stream.
Which is over here
Yes,
to the south.
yeah.
The driveway gonna be dirt or paved?
In talking to our client, I think his intention is gravel.
Does it have a paved apron right now? I really don't know.
I believe it does. I
It
think,
kind of looks like it does in the
Yeah.
picture. So we would still want the paved apron, but so you're not dragging gravel out onto the main road. And there's a shed over here. And in the picture that I have, it shows some other things over here, but they may not be there anymore. I don't know. Are there any other structures other than the house and that little shed?
not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Here's the,
Swing set.
There's a shed right here.
here's the site map. Parks viewer, so it's this little piece right there.
Can you zoom in on it a little bit? There you go.
So some of those trees are coming out from the septic system.
And they have to widen the driveway.
Right.
Yeah, I think there were two large trees that were gonna.
Right about where the finger is pointing, those two trees right there, I think are coming out. It'll still be treed from the road pretty much. Like you're gonna see it.
Were those trees coming out or up by the driveway?
Well, the septic is going in right here. This is the current house.
Oh, I didn't have them.
Septic is going in right in front of that current house.
Oh,
I think it's those two trees.
yeah,
On the bottom.
yeah.
Huh?
I was
Wanna
gonna
get
say we
them out?
could pop that in that, print out or whatever you call it.
See, he's got 4 or 5 trees as the driveway curves around that are still there, so.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's 2 trees right in the septic. I see them now. Those would be the ones.
Those will be going.
If not, they'll grow pretty fast.
Kind of ruin the septic though. All right. Bill,
So the other 3 new apartments would be attached to the carport, correct?
Yes,
Is that what I'm
and they're gonna have 1-car garage in them?
yes, yep, 1 garages.
Where is the well gonna be? I don't see it.
It's just
No,
north of
it's not
the,
existing, it's new.
No.
yeah, the existing will be removed. The new well is just north of the northeast corner of the house.
Yeah,
Where-
or there's a box right up there, it says, right here.
That's,
Computer doesn't go
this is
right.
their
So,
septic,
yeah,
isn't
this
it?
is the proposed
Oh, no, that's the
well.
well, you're right. I thought it was a septic. well. Okay,
Where's the closest neighbor?
down over the bank,
Well, behind the house, there's a house right about where your hand is.
Right there.
there's a neighbor to the south
See right here.
that sits back pretty much the same distance as the existing
This
house.
is a lot here.
The south, yeah.
And then there's
One
guy in the
directly
back. And the next one to the north is quite a distance away and there's a huge patch of woods, so.
Yeah, that's what I was just
So
thinking.
there's
as
that,
well.
yeah, one way back, it's way back here though.
Cause those trees provide a lot of absorption.
These are the old trees, the other one's back here.
Any questions? Greg?
Not, don't see anything.
How many square feet are these two apartments gonna be? Does it say?
He was looking for it, the.
I want to say there are around 1,300 total, into 30 by 30 units. But the garage is part of the first floor.
So will the garage take up the whole first floor or?
No, they're small, pretty small, 1-car carports.
And have you got your okay for the state for the septic yet?
Yes, we approved wastewater permit.
How about Keith? Does he need to sign off on that or no? There's not.
He's widening the road, he's
Yeah.
got a
Yeah,
hammerhead.
Yeah.
The hammerhead was added, right? You did get a letter from.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
His one comment was that we didn't have a turnaround for fire apparatus, and I spoke with our client who's fine with adding one.
Right, that was just added, so it wasn't in the other drawing.
I think it looks pretty accessible. Well, it's pretty
That
strict.
doesn't need a roundabout because that's on private drive or something.
Well, it's not very long either. I mean,
Yeah.
technically the truck could, how long is that driveway, do you know? Off the top of your head? Let's see.
It's about, maybe
250,
300 and
300 all the way to the house, maybe.
One from-
They can jog in from the road if they had to, with a hose in their hand. He said they go 500 feet, but not 800, so.
Well, you go 1,000.
If it's downhill
If
or
it's
really
downhill.
flat.
Driveway down, is it really steep going down, or is that the other neighbor?
The other neighbor,
The other
this
neighbor.
one's pretty
This one's
flat,
Very
right?
flat, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, the contour lines.
just drops off right in the back there, that, the corner of that number 4 is the only place where it really drops off.
So there's that property owner to the right and then the lake, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, nobody has any comments on this? Nobody else on Zoom? How do you get back there?
Yeah. We almost need another Zoom monitor. Is there anybody on Zoom who wants to comment? Just unmute, please.
Okay. We don't have any more questions. I will take a motion to close.
Motion closed?
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sure, now. We'll go back
Give me a
to.
little time on these, 'cause I won't have it first thing. in the morning. The first two, maybe, not those.
Well, this one, we'll write a decision and see it at our next meeting, right? So in a couple weeks.
Yeah, but I won't have a decision.
No,
Right,
we won't have it totally approved until our next meeting.
right.
All right, so this is Simone Martin, which I skipped ahead on. Continuance.
Oh.
Got a new map.
I thought
for it?
you were gonna be on this. here.
No, I'm here.
Okay,
When, I wouldn't dare put you guys through that over Zoom.
good, good. We have not seen your maps yet, so it'll be interesting.
So I've got packets for everybody here. I've got some full-size plans
All right, why don't we hand that
Yep.
out, and then I'll do the reading, so
for those.
jumble paper around it at the same time as doing the reading.
Thank you. So,
Yeah.
All right, cool.
you're lucky I was here, 'cause it's at 5:30 and not.
Well, I didn't think about it.
Like, oh, good thing I was here.
So do you want to save these for James, or do you need to look at anything?
Gonna go ahead on the floor if we decide to do.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna read this little introduction. A couple of people
Is there
came
one
in
here that-
after you.
There one here that you want me to pull off? The site, there's like 3 site plans.
Yeah, I think we're primarily gonna be looking at 1 and 2, Doug.
Okay.
Okay, so
C1 and C2.
some of you came in after we sworn people in, so we're gonna do that again. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you. This is PR 002-22. Simone Martin, owner and applicant, hereafter referred to as the applicant, requesting preliminary plat review for a 5-lot subdivision. Parcel is located at 1871 Oakland Station Road and contains 26.92 acres in the AR1 zoning district. Sketch plan review held on April 19th, 2022, and the DRB determined the subdivision to be classified as a major subdivision. And that is where we're gonna stop, because we have seen this a couple times, but we've continued it, and now we have. Oops, I'm gonna go on to-
What's, the stuff that's in your packet is not updated.
Right,
So
you
this
just wanna
one
look at
and this
the-
one is updated. We just got them
Okay,
today, tonight.
all right,
I don't know what the changes were from what they have, but.
why don't you walk us through what you,
Yeah, so, obviously, the board has seen this a few times, so, I'm gonna spare all the gritty details here, but certainly if anybody has anything that they want to kind of go back and go over, or have me go through anything in further detail, I'm happy to do that. In short, what we've got today in our attempts to kind of further this project along, are, some changes based on the last couple of meetings, discussion with the fire chief. And those changes are, so we have, as per the board's decision in executive hearing at the last, at the first preliminary hearing where you offered a density bonus for a fifth lot. We had originally kind of passed on that, and we've kind of reconsidered, and we would like to add that fifth lot. So we've kind of renumbered the lots so that they make a little bit more sense, but proposed lot 2 is that fifth lot that the board had kind of offered. So that will be restricted to 1,500 square feet. In the narrative, the revised narrative that I've included in your packet, we're listing out all of the waivers, and that density bonus is included in that list of things that we're
Just for the
asking.
record,
Yep.
we go into deliberate and not executive section, but just wanted to make that.
Sure.
I don't want somebody later to say.
Okay. Noted. So we've added the fifth lot. So this is now a seven lot subdivision with 5 proposed new lots, and then one existing lot, and then the open space, making it the 7th last one. We have, after discussion with the board and the fire chief, we have expanded the size of the road to 24 feet to comply with the updated regulations, 876 standards. As per our discussion with the board at the last hearing, we are proposing that we narrow that back down at the wetland crossing in order to minimize our impacts to the wetlands. So that narrowing, okay, let's see. So that narrowing would start at around station 800, which is where we start to get pinched by the steep slopes and the wetland. That's kind of where the corridor the crossing corridor starts at kind of station 800. So through the crossing, and then we widen back out as soon as we clear the buffer at around station 1200. And then we've carried that 24-foot all the way through to the hammerhead, which has been relocated for discussion with the fire chief to between lots 6 and 7. Also included in that packet is the latest email discussion with the fire chief.
Yeah, I just was reading that. So I'm trying to understand this drawing.
Yep.
The colored area I thought was the width of the road, but you're saying from 800 to 1200, it's gonna be narrower, so.
Yeah, sorry, we're showing wetland impacts on that sheet as well, and
Oh,
some of that
okay.
shading, that.
So is there one of the drawings that?
Yeah, if you look at C3 and 4, that does not go wetland. That's a more truer.
Sheet 3, it's 24 feet the whole way, and then on 4, okay, we see it
Yeah.
narrow.
So what does it narrow down to?
Narrows down to 18 feet. With what we were previously proposing.
And how many feet long is that section?
So that would be from station 800 to about 1200, a little less than 12, yeah, just before 1200. So we're talking about, about 400 feet.
Yeah, the colon.
Yep.
Yeah, at the well crossing, yeah. And then the last thing that we are asking the board um. Tonight is for a minimal waiver for the open space. So with the changes that we've made it, adding the fifth lot, we're coming up just a little bit short on open space. We're at 19% out of the required 20%. Now that lot 3, the open space lot, is a big lot. It's, you know, we're talking about 12.93 acres for the open space lot, but per the town rules, the definition of open space, you know, we can't have wetlands in there, we can't have, so when you separate all that stuff out, we're just a little bit shy on that required 20%. So we're asking if we can get a waiver for that last remaining 1% on that open space.
Yeah, the lot 2 you pulled out from that,
Correct,
from the open space, right?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was, you know,
Right, no, that.
yeah, it was very tight before, and, you know, with that fifth law, we tried very hard, we, you know, did everything we could, but we're still just a little bit shy in that. We have added, some, delineation and some notes for the wetland buffer per the board's request.
Can you go into a little detail on what you just said? What do you mean you're,
With regards to the buffer?
yeah, the delineation, you're gonna put boulders?
Yeah, we're calling out boulders, yep, boulders, and we're not, we're not proposing that everywhere, and we certainly can, you know, if the board wants to delineate the roadsides.
Right, I
you
don't
know,
think that's
Yeah,
necessary.
we didn't either, so we're looking at basically the areas that are potentially gonna be mowed, that we
Yes.
wanna delineate to make sure that we're not mowing the buffer.
Exactly.
So that's what we're looking at. So
for.
it's essentially this buffer line all the way along the kind of the backside of the
Yep.
wastewater system. And then again on, go to, in C3, you can see that we have these demarcated along lot 2 as well. Again,
Okay.
where it would be mowed, where you're gonna have adjacent to lawn, you
Yep.
would have that.
Greg, is you on the share drive?
You know, you've got so many screens open, we need 3 more of those screens. See everything.
I think we did
Greg,
previously.
can you hear me?
Sorry.
Greg, can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear. What's up?
Are you on the share drive?
No,
Okay,
I'm on the Zoom thing.
okay, it's on the share drive if you have access yet, so. I put
Okay,
them all
I
there.
just asked you questions on that I'll get with you later on.
Okay, no problem.
I believe we previously had submitted the draft covenants, but just in case, those are also included in your packet there.
Okay.
The board had previously requested.
So, since your open space is just like wildlife, you're not proposing any special use for it, you're not
Correct.
planning on cutting down all the trees or
Correct.
putting in a community garden or something, but, okay.
There's gonna be lots of open space, it's just not all gonna meet the letter of the regulations in terms
Yeah.
of what.
I think
qualifies.
added together, I think it makes some good wildlife corridors.
Well, and that's
And
what,
you're surrounded
Yeah.
by. You've got to have
Yeah.
wildlife in there just because of the wetlands and everything, so.
what's interesting about the regs is that in the open space, when it talks about open space, it's specifically lists wildlife habitat as, you know, a goal to protect in your open space, but it doesn't allow wetlands to be used in that, so it's a little bit of a.
Well, the wetlands are already protected, and what we're trying
I
to
get
do
that,
is kind of form some blocks.
Yeah,
So if having yours to the back is great, because then if somebody else comes in, we can connect them and actually have, you know. And we've made some good connections
Yeah.
recently, and a lot of times we'll ask somebody to leave an easement for the town, so we even can connect. Two PUDs with a trail in between,
sure,
so they don't have to go out on the road, drive around and see their neighbor, and they can just walk across.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you have anything to connect to at this point, but.
yeah, not necessarily, but, you know, we do, to that point, we do have this, you know. In keeping with that, we are proposing the way these lots lay out. We do have this little kind of 20-foot strip, so instead of separating and cutting off these pieces of open space, we're trying to connect them and trying to keep them contiguous. So we do have this kind of 20-foot corridor that connects this open space to that back open space. So, you know, I mean.
Which is, you know,
Yeah.
someday in the future, it
Exactly.
may become really important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so where's the wastewater area for that new lot?
Yeah, so that's being shown right here.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, it's kind of right in the telephone, it'd be right in the telephone easement. Which we'll work with figure out who owns that and get there's usually a special form you have to get.
Yeah.
But they typically don't have an issue with that. As long as you.
They don't like buildings under there, but
Exactly.
other stuff,
Yeah.
roads and stuff, they allow
Yeah.
most of the time.
they don't like sap lines without a way to unhook it either.
Sounds like you know that.
Not yet, I talked about it.
This hammerhead that you have coming up here.
Yeah.
Can you connect that to make it more of a big area, like, so, because we have the cul-de-sacs that you're trying to produce, but it looks like you might be able to do something in there with that. I know there was a conversation on the cul-de-sac, but.
The fire chief has signed off on the hammerhead.
Yeah,
That new?
we have discussed. this.
February 24th, he signed off on it.
Yeah.
So it's before we put the new reg, we have new regs now that you're not gonna get a waiver anymore.
Yeah, I
But-
discussed, I talked to the fire chief and, it sounds like.
But.
Yeah.
This one was already in process, so. You remember what you're doing?
Oh, yeah.
That's so long. Nobody even knew what it was. Does anybody have any questions?
Is the road gonna be gravel,
Yes,
private?
yes,
With a paved apron, right?
yes.
Are you gonna want a deed review on this?
Deed what?
Deed review?
Oh, he's got the deed in here, right?
Well, those are
Oh,
just draft covenants for the open space. Yeah.
oh, this is the open space. So the deed is gonna have to. You'll have a deed on lot 2 that keeps it at that size, right?
Yep.
And. You're gonna have HOA language. Cause everybody will have to be.
Yeah, and that's included, some of that draft stuff is included in that packet. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Is the lot 2?
No, that's
Okay.
not in there.
And shared septic. Right? I can't remember what the wells are. Do they each have a well or are they sharing wells?
No, these are all individual wells.
Just shared septic in the road.
Yep.
I don't see anything else. For the number of times that you came in. We got our little house, that was nice. We came up with another option the other day.
Oh, yeah?
You
I don't know
know,
if I wanna hear it at this point. Sure.
is, you know, if you get permitted for a 4-bedroom house, you could build a 3-bedroom house and an accessory 1-bedroom, and that would give us more, you know, it's having so many 4-bedroom houses built that it kind of cuts out the young people that are trying to buy a place here or find a place to live in town.
Yeah.
So it maximizes your septic usage, but, you know, your permit, but
Yeah.
it gives us slightly different arrangement of housing, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, but when they're starting to build and they're getting permits, you know, it may be a possibility in this.
The state's actually, kind of changed their interpretation of the rules a little bit recently. It used to be that in that situation, if you had a 4-bedroom, and you had a separate accessory, you know, 1-bedroom mother-in-law apartment, or whatever, that was separate from the house. The states used to interpret the rules as saying that that separate house would have to be a 2-bedroom minimum. So you actually get kind of penalized on the
But
design.
not now, because they want everybody. to
And
build
now they've
AUVs.
changed their tune on that a little bit, so now they will, you know, so that could work.
All right, any more questions?
Did you decide on deed review?
Do you think that we need to send this to the wire? It's pretty straightforward, and you've done one of these before.
Yeah.
We're gonna trust that you put the right things in the deed and save you the hassle of the deed review, all right?
Sounds good to
If
me.
you don't, we'll penalize you next time you come in. You'll be very glad.
See you guys off that. I wouldn't wanna risk it.
If it's somebody that had never done one here in this
Yeah.
town, then I would suggest that, but I think it's pretty straightforward stuff. So. Okay, anybody questions? If not, I'll take a motion to close the hearing.
Motion closed here.
And second.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Not done yet.
We're quite a ways through it. It's not even 8
I
o'clock.
know, it's unbelievable. One of these is gonna be a big snag.
Who seconded that last motion?
Not done yet. Please.
Who did that? All right, where are we now?
What's the next one now?
Tim Reed.
Storage units.
Yep. We have that.
There's this one here by the road.
Oh, okay, you guys will put that up. All right, this is SK 002-23. Tim Reed, hereafter referred to as the applicant, is requesting a sketch plan review for a mini storage facility. The parcel is located at Ethan Allen Highway at I-89 and consists of 70 acres. The parcel is entirely located within the business zoning district. Said parcel is benefited by 960 feet of road frontage along Ethan Allen Highway and 1,600 feet of road frontage along Interstate 89.
And do you want to do A or B first?
It doesn't matter to me what you guys prefer. I think Brad is gonna do an introduction right now.
Okay,
Yeah, why don't we start with A, Doug, if we could?
okay, I will put A up there.
You can just hang out for 1 second. One of our board members is taking a break. We'll be right back.
Sure.
You haven't been here for a while.
No. The first thing I've done with that downhill investment since you were there, it's yeah, that was a pretty smooth transition for you guys. You guys flowing better this way?
Yeah, I think so. Yep. Okay, we're ready.
Okay, I'm Brad Ruderman. I'm working with Tim Reed on this project. I know a few of you on the board, Suzanne and Greg. What we're trying to do is, present this project at Sketch. It's a 70-acre vacant parcel It's highly visible right off the interstate and Route 7. And we'd like to take about a 9 to 10 acre area, and we have a proposed mini self-storage development in that upper corner. There's really one access to this parcel. There's an existing farm access, which we'd have to upgrade. We've had to have some discussions with V-Trans on upgrading that access point. And really this project is highly dependent on a formal wetlands delineation. I've shown on the existing conditions plan what the state has for the State Agency of Natural Resources has the meadow area, which is a hay field that has a pretty significant wetlands indicator layer over this area, and that's shown in red. It's like these fingers coming down the slope. Not necessarily agree with that, with what they have, and it's again, it's not a delineation they did, it's just a hydric, or it's a wetlands advisory layer they put on there. We are having a formal delineation done in the spring, and that'll give us some more information and detail on exactly where the wetlands fall, where the buffers need to be set. But from what I've seen and what we've driven around out there, all through the summer and fall, that this area, I don't necessarily agree that this has this intense wetland out there, basically, but that's to be determined this spring. So it would be we have two separate proposed options. One is a little bit more dense than the other for self-storage with an office. We have had the area tested. We did find one area that's suitable that we tested for on-site septic to serve the office. We're gonna, do some more exploring in the spring. But we really wanted to get this in front of the board to get some feedback on it, what your thoughts are, and what do you think of this project that's going to be basically right off Route 7 here.
Anybody want to comment?
So that's the library right, west of it, right?
No.
That is the cannabis place and then the library.
Oh,
Did that place get approved?
Yes,
You own a lot in there too as well. You own property in there as well?
I do.
You do.
No real estate deals during the meeting.
I just had heard that.
I don't even want that on film, so you can cut that out.
Sorry.
My question is, if that's your one access to the property, it feels like you're boxing the rest of the property off.
So it will come down to what we determine for wetlands, what potential use is for anything else.
I understand that. So some of it, a good part of the property is probably not so great for developing, but I'm just thinking in the future, you could do something else with part of that lot, I would think. And
The hope would be to get access, if it is indeed as determined that it is following the state map, the hope would be to get a wetlands permit to at least access the tree line area. Being that we do have to service the septic out there and for harvesting the timber and so forth. And with further testing out there, potentially there would be something in the future for a house lot, 2 lots, depends on what we find for septic. Given that it's tucked way away from the road. But that's really.
You mean up along the northern line?
like over in this.
Yeah, once you hit into the tree line, it does get.
Yeah, but I mean, you're thinking of accessing it from the northern boundary line, I guess?
It would go up along the canvas.
Yeah.
I would think that,
Yeah.
That'd be.
even if you were paying to impact the wetland, that's the least impactful.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, basically where they line up their hay bales that they never.
Because all of the lots north of you have their own drainage and their own
Yeah, so there's a ditch.
retaining, well, there's a pond there, right by the road. I don't
There
know.
is.
yeah,
On the commercial lots?
yeah,
Oh, there is. okay.
yeah. So all those ditches drain into that pond
Yeah.
before they go into the road, so none of that water is gonna be coming
Yeah.
towards your property. It looks like in the pictures that it would drain down onto your property, but I know that it doesn't, it all goes
There's,
towards that.
yeah, there is, in
Probably,
the property line, there is it's probably a man-made ditch, but there is a ditch in the tree line there, it's grown up, not maintained, but it is, so it does hold some water in there, but eventually seeps out to the back.
So the state doesn't have a problem with that road access like that right there, right?
So
right
the state put that in with the intentions that it would be the access for future development.
Really?
They did indicate to Brad, I think, and maybe he could elaborate on that more, but they did indicate that they would be, they would approve something there as long as it met the proper, you know.
They did,
Yeah.
Ed Pierce was the right-of-way permit coordinator, and he did get back to me and said that V-Trans approves the concept of upgrading the existing field drive to commercial access for self-storage. They'll require a divided access per B71. You know, they'd like to see a preliminary plan at some point, but they've only seen this sketch, so.
they like to have their roads in you know, the roads that come off of Route 7 in the same place, so if someday down the road, they need to put lights or signals or turn lanes, then they serve both sides.
Yeah.
There is in the V-Trans, there is a turn lane right in the road here, you know, like the turn lane, if you're gonna go
Oh,
southbound,
right.
they're gonna put, they're required a turn lane on this side to turn in. Right now, there's not one there, so,
I think they talked to Brad about maybe pulling some of that median back.
yeah, that, and putting a turn lane in right there, yep.
Yeah,
So get off, the ramp and go straight across it into the,
Yeah, you can now without anything done, but yeah, I think they want to pull back.
I guess it's pretty wide, yeah. Yeah, because it could go on either left, yeah, so.
Right.
Right, it's
No
like
left.
you're going left to go straight. So, this is not a side note, how does it go into where the cannabis sites will go? Because that's only one way.
Right.
Is that gonna-
You can only, we asked them to cut it back.
Yeah.
When Harrison was bringing in the turbines, they were gonna cut a whole bunch of the island out because he couldn't turn
Yeah.
with the trucks that were bringing in the blades. And then he ended up bringing them a different way, so they didn't cut any of it back. And then a few years ago, they did cut some of it back because you couldn't even turn into the library,
Well,
which is crazy. The library's been there for 100 years and you couldn't turn into the library.
so
So they cut it back just enough to go into the library. If they'd done like another 10 feet, you could have got onto Morin Road.
how like tractor trailer traffic?
They all will come from St. Albans and leave
So you're
towards
turning around
Milton.
open station, if they're getting up the exit.
No, he's going to actually direct them to get off in St. Albans and come down. Yeah. That was in his plan, was he would tell everybody to get off in St. Albans and come down.
I don't think a tractor could turn around on Dead Man's Curve today.
No, so it's gonna cause problems, because we, way back when I started Mountain View Drive, just up the road, we had some. Tractor trailer trucks try to turn around there and they blocked out the road. for
Well,
hours
and
to
it's
get
all,
pulled out.
like people park in there and
Yeah.
like, there's never enough room.
No, and they get on off.
So this is my thought of this. I've had a few people ask me about this. They're like, storage right off the interstate, like everybody's gonna see Georgia and storage units. Is, you could move this down, I would think, but this is just my thought, towards the interstate where you wouldn't want a business or a house or whatever, because nobody wants to live that close to the interstate and store it, so who cares about the noise? And then have that other area to, first to build your road if you wanted to go out beyond someday, or do something else in that area that's a little nicer to look at as your entry to Georgia.
Correct, and we do plan on doing a heavy amount of screening. no matter where
Yeah,
it's
I
located.
see you got
So
pretty heavy hedge around
Yeah,
it,
so it
but
would be, you know, it's the upper corners, gosh, it's 45 feet above the interstate. You know, so bottom part of the bottom start of the property where the units would go is still 25 feet above the interstate. So it is gonna have elevation where it could be screened pretty easily. So we did originally have that slid down to more where the stormwater pond is.
we were concerned that you guys might have concern about it moving closer and more visibility. Is the reason why we pulled it back up.
Oh.
So, to me, yeah, I think it makes more sense to pull it down for exactly
Yeah,
what you said.
cause you could do something
Yeah.
nicer where everybody's gonna see it.
You know, we would want to turn it a little bit just to work with the contours of the land, and it really laid in there nicely, actually.
I don't know what everybody else thinks of that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Move
And
that.
then
Yeah.
they have it road out here to.
Right.
Access.
And,
this
you
out
know, they could put some houses in there or whatever, they could put a business in there, put anything in there that would be nicer to look at as you get off the interstate and.
I was kind of surprised when it. I thought it was gonna be down the corner.
Well, one of the questions I had, in either A or B, do you know which unit will be the two-story ones?
The bigger ones, right?
So both concepts have the same amount of 2 stories. They're just positioned in different locations on the property. Being that we thought maybe aesthetics would be a concern, option B moves the 2 stories along Route 7, where you would see more nice taller buildings. And then one single story would be behind them.
Okay.
Option A, they're up towards the cannabis building.
Okay, so that'd be unit A and B in
Yeah.
the A proposal.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, correct.
B, come on, get down there.
U
I
and V.
The two along with 7, U and V.
Yeah,
That's correct, Greg.
Okay. If you're putting in the screening, especially, let's see, I think I'm on, anyway, with the two-story units along Route 7. What would you use for screening that wouldn't take decades? I mean, a two-story building is gonna be big to hide. I'm just
Yeah.
kind of wondering, I mean, that'd
I
be
guess-
pretty expensive to screen that way, but
Yeah, my mindset was we weren't thinking we would be required to screen a 2-story building. It was more maybe the single story that was more a desire to get screened quicker. The 2-story kind of falls in suit with what's up and down the road, I think.
So if you were to move your lot down a little way, or move your project down a little bit, and you put your 2-story buildings, even if you had those near the Route 7. That drops off quite a bit, so you would still be looking from Route 7, a good part of Route 7, you'd be looking over the top of them, right?
Yeah, so I mean, if you were, it depends on how low you go, but yeah, so from the very upper corner to the bottom of what we're proposing, there's 20 feet of pitch right there.
Just right there.
Right there, which is across 10 acres. You know,
Yeah.
but it's drops 20 feet
Yeah.
there.
So how is it at the bottom corner? Right here.
At the
And
interstates, that's about 380 feet.
No, the drop, I mean.
Yeah, so it's
Oh.
From say where it would start, it'd be another 25 feet.
So it pretty much drops at the same rate all the way down.
Yeah, it's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes towards the natural ditch swale. There's a big wetlands complex down in the woods.
Yeah. So then how high is your 2-story building?
We were proposing 16-foot walls and then a 512 roof pitch at that.
It'll be 21 feet, and so say you're right. Maybe in there. So say you're down in this area right here.
Mhm.
How far below the road would that be? That wouldn't quite put you where you're looking over the top of them, would it?
Probably not. It would depend on how they were positioned on a lot. Say if you were to take concept A, I think I'd have to decrease some units off it to get it to fit there along with stormwater. But concept A, if they stayed the same direction, those would basically shelter the lower buildings. So yeah, you might be seeing the back of the roof and going up, but you wouldn't be. It would block up a lot of the lower units
Mhm.
because of the, you're looking straight out above them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that at all. That was really.
I mean, you're speaking
Original
near the
plan.
interstate, but that's our commercial zone.
Yeah, and I think with the drop, again, the interstate's a lot lower here, I think it would screen it, whereas you're gonna see a two-story, but the single
Yeah.
stories would blend in pretty quick.
Yeah.
And Brad and I talked about doing maybe a berm, I don't know where it's located, a berm to,
And then
Put the
do
landscape
planting
on.
on it, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what they did at Husky here.
yeah, get it established quicker, kind of,
Yep.
gets, greens burn.
And it wouldn't look weird there either, cause
No.
it drops down, so you wouldn't
Right.
really even notice that you put the berm in.
Right. Exactly.
It's kind of scary, the need for storage units.
It is,
these days.
so I've been checking around town, they're all.
You could
they're
put
all-
a daycare in storage units, and they're
Yeah.
both sold out right away.
They're all, these are all sold
You
out.
could staff them though.
Some of the guys I talked to said the people they were talking to.
Each kid gets their own unit,
Yeah.
just lock them in.
Yeah, said the
Give 'em-
closest
It's already
unit they
fenced
could
in.
find are in New York State. But there's nothing in Vermont.
Wow.
It's unreal, you don't get it.
We
We
got
got too much
looking
junk.
for some, a couple of years ago and it still was.
So is this gonna be fenced or just, screened?
I would propose fenced, but it depends on the final layout. And once we ship to us,
So,
because the interstate is fenced, so perhaps that lower portion won't be.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
So if you were to move it down, would you still have enough room for would you just move your water retention pond, I guess, I can't see.
Yeah, the stormwater, we may have to, change direction, so.
Yeah.
It can work a little smoother with our layout,
and you may be able to put it back in here,
as long as we
Fence.
could get access across. it.
Yeah.
That's where it's naturally.
Yeah.
We wanna work with the contours, not have a lot of cutting and filling, basically.
There's a stormwater right on the other side of that.
yes, yeah,
That's right.
just north, yeah. That's what, he didn't know that there was.
I didn't.
There's a
there.
big pond.
It's a little grown up there. I did drive up in there. It's like, I don't know.
You can kind of see where that little pond is,
Yeah, but it's really,
you gotta clean it out.
I did peek in there. I don't know what's up there.
You gonna do solar or no?
That was something I was gonna pursue on rooftops.
They just did it up there.
Yeah,
I know.
Well,
Way to hide them.
my
well,
gas-
and where if you move it down here, it's not gonna be, glare on the road. That's the problem with a lot of these systems that are built along the road is certain time of the day, you're
Mhm,
Yeah.
seeing the glare, and these are gonna sit down so far, you'll never have a problem with that.
mhm.
And it's another thing you can get off the land. I did have a question about, I don't know if you've talked to the fire department, but this A plan where you have like if they're trying to get a fire truck down in there.
Yeah, there's no
it's
direct
a-
line.
It's very tricky,
Yeah, I agree.
whereas the B plan has
Yeah.
the straight line,
Mhm.
not that you have to do exactly either of those, but I would think about that when you're putting in
It looks cleaner.
It does.
your.
No, I agree that the straight line is the preference, and I think for fire protection, I think they'll be able to drive around every single building. So I think that.
Which is what they like,
Right.
yeah.
So you're gonna have a gate when you drive in? Are you gonna have staff like during the day?
That's the plan.
Okay.
It ultimately comes down to the units, how size could get approved.
I know that, like in essence, there are a couple that you push a code in, the
Yeah.
gate opens up and,
That's
Pretty
what
cool.
happened in Burlington too.
yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, I was gonna have a gal work it in there and do some network work. Kind of double up.
Put an
So you're
apartment
on
in,
the
you can put an apartment in too, you can do both in this district.
I don't wanna live
Well, I didn't say you had to live there, your employee could live there.
The gate won't, people won't be able to access
They
that.
will, yeah, it would be a key.
So they would be able to access
Yeah.
after hours. So you would probably have to put your gate in a ways and not right on the road, correct?
Correct, yeah,
Well,
no, it would be
People got
by
room
the
to
office.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if everything slides down, it'd be by the office.
Wait, it's like, slow that down, it seems like you have a road out there, and you put a nice entryway to,
Right.
you're gonna be, look, oh.
Well, if that's 10 acres and you slide it down, you still have a sizable chunk to do something with it.
Yeah, I did have a concept down there. I'd have to get with Brad on the stormwater, how much that's gonna take out of it.
Yeah. It's, you know, we don't have the choice to say you can't do it because it's an allowed use, but it is sort of the gateway to Georgia when you get off the interstate. It'd be nice to have something.
Yeah, I mean, there won't be prefab metal buildings, it'll be, you know, constructed and
Yeah.
try to take pride in their stuff, I guess, yeah.
Any more questions? No, my question's answered. You got any questions, Greg?
No, I'm good with it. Thank you.
Okay.
I have a question. Demetrius Macalide is my name. I'm a neighbor.
Okay.
These storage units, are they going to be climate control or any climate control there or not? They're just going to be plain sets or?
Right now, we're not proposing any climate control, but if we did, it would be in the two-story portion.
Okay, thank you. Next question is on why do you need a two-story set? What do you store there?
Well, things like campers or larger equipment.
Okay, so you're going to be storing campers, boats and cars and stuff like that too, right?
Yeah, generally the taller items for those spaces, I guess. The cars could fit in the single story.
Okay.
Also, it won't be the second floor storage, just taller.
No, just taller, just larger doors on inside.
I didn't know if you're doing like some of the big cities, you got different stories. and
Yeah, they do. I don't know the demand for that around here, and I think it would be
Williston?
subject
stuff.
to.
Do they really?
Williston did it.
I saw they did.
Two-story climate control.
I saw they did that.
That's huge, that's massive.
And they're, right now, the prices are cheaper than everybody else around. I don't know why, because it's a much nicer place. I don't know if it's just
It's first year price.
drag price.
Yeah.
That's what I wondered with a two-story. It seems like you just have a lot of legwork, you know, getting to the elevator system and then getting upstairs. And the corridor's gotta be pretty long, I think.
Mm.
Versus pulling up to your tailgate and. dumping
So are these all poured foundations?
Slabs with a heel.
Yeah. But some places just have gravel.
Yeah, no,
And are they enclosed from each other or are they open on the top?
no.
Don't let the squirrels through.
Mhm.
Idiot that stores weird stuff and then they're right next to you and all the squirrels are coming over and chewing on your stuff.
Like what size of like each unit gotta be?
We
Different
just
sizes.
proposed 15 by 20, and all the single stories.
All the same size?
Yeah, not to say something that may not change as the demand changes, but that's kind of where I did all the
Yeah.
pricing and budgeting.
And these are going to be prefabbed or are they prefabbed or are they going to be built there?
They'll be stick built.
Stick built?
Yeah. I'm sorry, which question?
It's.
Beige.
And you're gonna paint them all orange and yellow and pink, right?
And to blend them in with the background.
Yeah.
They'll be green and they'll change to white in the winter time, just for a couple
To a
months.
rainbow.
Yeah, I never done it.
Just leave them green. We don't see enough of it in the month.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't see anything.
Oh,
Are you-
it's only nearly impossible for us to do.
I like the
but,
building.
Is
in,
this the hearing you're here
Milton
for?
that Has butterflies on it?
Okay.
There is a sign sheet.
No, that's.
No.
It's probably down
You're
there.
set?
Yeah, it's on the
Corner.
second
Right here.
before you get to chimney corners. You know that building that has the artwork on it?
Yes,
I
The,
like, that looks really nice.
the big,
Butterfly and a
I didn't
hummingbird.
know what building that is, but yeah, it's across from like Charlie Boys and that.
See, I'm almost looking-
Warehouse.
It sits back from the road and they have big flowers and the hummingbird and stuff.
Right, great.
Yeah. That's Gardner supplied,
Garden supply.
Garden supply, yeah.
I knew I knew. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, Milton Artist Guild put that in.
You gotta sell billboard space.
Yeah.
Is that allowed in town?
Yeah, yeah.
I just getting the signs hard enough.
I don't think anybody enforces it, otherwise that 70 acres sign in that field you're building, it wouldn't be there for the 50 years I lived here.
I think it's been there longer than I've lived in town,
Yeah, it's been there as long as I remember.
I'm surprised
It's
it
been for sale.
hasn't, it falls over once in a while, and they go stand it back up.
I know a lot of people over the years have perk test out there. I'm surprised nobody went to the woods. I don't understand that. We were in there for an hour and found very nice spot.
Yeah,
Down in the bottom corner there.
Yeah, we're not, so they're on the maps, it does show better soil, but we didn't want to fight our way through to get to that point. But, yeah, it's midway towards the bottom. There's a nice pocket.
This one right here.
Yeah, there's a nice pocket right there.
Is that the woods right there?
We are in just.
about a third of the property is woods, so, yeah.
Okay. I thought there was a bigger side. I thought the other side of the wetland was still a lot of open field, but I didn't realize.
No, here's the, I got it right here, too.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
About a third.
It would tend to question the state's map, but I guess, I don't know.
Well-
We did hire one.
Never delineate it and then.
You know, as things get built, you know, the water that's coming onto that property shifts around, you know, when they put in Warren Road, I'm sure that shifted some
Yeah.
of what flowed onto that brook. Cause at some point in time, they had designated the center of that field as a restoration wetland area.
Oh, yeah?
I saw that on one of the state maps, but that's gotta be really old because it doesn't make sense anymore now that Warren drains all that property
Yeah.
down.
We did have the state ecologist out there and he was, you know, back and forth, but it was late in the fall, so.
Yeah,
We did consult a company out of New Hampshire to come up and do the delineation this spring.
End of July, beginning of August, but
That'd be better, with the contract going on. The brighter the better.
They hate that whole thing, right?
Yeah.
well, that's, the ag gets a buy on everything, so you can do whatever you want with, wetlands.
Well,
but
it
as
can't be
soon
that
as-
wet though.
Soon as it goes, yeah, but it's plants in the soil,
Yeah.
not just how wet it is, so. It's the type of plants that would absorb moisture for you, even though they're not necessarily doing it right now.
Yeah, it's not prime ag, sure, there's no question about that, they cropped the whole thing and left 150 round there. because they-
It's crazy. What a waste.
I know, I brushed out there, I'm like, guys, you could have mowed it again, please.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see what they're doing there.
Yeah, I know.
Some years it gets mowed a lot and other years it just sits there. Okay, so. You have any questions for us?
What is your process on a sketch, like, what would I?
We're just giving you ideas. We'll send you a letter with what we talked about, but I don't think we talked about anything. I don't think we're gonna go into deliberative and come up with some new and different thing that we didn't discuss. That'll be what you heard here.
All right.
make a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
All in favor? Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
guess who's up now?
On up. Okay, this is the one I think again.
Okay, this is SK 003-23, Anthony and William Dimash. Hereafter referred to as applicant requesting sketch plan review for a 2-lot minor subdivision. Parcel located at 147 Middle Road, consists of 91 acres. To be reduced to 58.5 acres for an existing dwelling and proposed building lot of 32.5 acres. The parcel is located within the AR1 and AR2 zoning districts. Said parcel benefited by 610 feet of road frontage along Georgia Middle Road. The applicant is proposing the creation of a 2-lot subdivision, 91 acres, divided into 58.5 for existing buildings and 32.5 acres to include a 4 household residence, and will include two-bedroom unit. 2 bedrooms per unit and located entirely in the AR2 zoning district. The remaining property, 58.5 acres, will have no changes to the existing 4-bedroom residence and 1-bedroom apartment. I'm confused by the 4 household resident.
It's a 4-unit attached building. One building with 4 units in it.
Okay, and they're 2 bedrooms each?
Yeah, well, right now we're proposing 2, it could be 1 and 2 bedroom.
Okay. Okay. The wording was a little weird on here and I was trying to figure it out. That's what I thought you were doing, but I wasn't. Okay. So these are gonna be rentals?
Yes.
More like an apartment house, not the townhouse.
No, it's gonna
Or is it
be
gonna be
it's gonna be basically, yeah, 4, I'm gonna call them 2-bedroom units. With 1-car garages on the, part of the,
So 2 stories for each one, okay. So similar to what the earlier,
Actually, yeah, the earlier one with the 3 separate ones attached to the.
the main
existing
house, yeah.
So is that why, the question I had, I want to make sure, is that why he didn't have to subdivide because he was attaching it to the existing residence?
Exactly,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I can attach it to, a lot attached to mine, but, the idea is that this would be a rental property that I would continue to own. And at some point down the road, my wife or children want to sell them off, they can do that. But while I'm around, I'm planning to keep them as rentals.
Okay. Because we're talking about footprint lots in the future. We're going to talk about that. If you were to sell them, you could sell each unit as a condo, condos.
As a
are
town.
footprint lots. Or you could sell them as townhomes and each person got a section of the property. So you'd have different options if we implemented that.
Okay, I'm sorry, maybe I didn't.
Condos just own the space that they live in,
Okay.
and they commonly share everything else, whereas the townhomes have a little section of land that goes with them.
I see what you're saying, I follow you now.
We're talking about putting that into our regs where you have those 2 options. And
Oh.
right now, you can only do townhomes in Georgia, because we've just not had anybody build these kind of things, so it's kind of new to us, but. But if you build them as, 2-story kind of units attached to each other, you'll have different options if you ever wanted to sell them. And do you have your wastewater permit?
Not yet, no, this is just one, sketch
Yeah,
plan.
that's fine. So, and well, let's have it, oh yeah, right next to the house.
I haven't torn up here. The one issue is the driveway length.
How long is the driveway?
How long is it?
Yeah. It's,
Well, again, I think that you and Justin might have had a conversation about this, and we really haven't exactly mapped it out, but we'll comply with the length or width, whatever is needed.
right,
For
yeah, okay.
town approval.
Yeah,
Okay.
he does have a kind of a pull-off thing here, but we were talking about the 800-foot. And this is all pretty flat or slightly downhill, I think, right there, so.
So approximately how long is it right now?
It's over, I believe it's over 800.
Yeah, my guesstimate is over 800. Just by
Looks long thing.
trying to
It
ballpark
is very long. I don't remember if we actually found out, 875 feet. But when I spoke with Justin earlier today, he did say that this could be moved around a little bit from where it is and to try to make this get in there, but it is flat or slightly downhill, so they could hit the 800-foot mark, which is not far off.
So would that still have to meet A76 standards?
B71.
Yeah, no, we have,
B71.
B71A.
Okay.
For driveway standards.
This map is,
Okay, it's not a road, it's.
Not a road,
Okay.
is really hard to do any measuring on because it's so
Yeah.
small. Do you have any idea how far from the house to the wetland buffer is?
To the what?
The wetland buffer, you know, the.
Well,
blue-
again, like the,
Well, this
I
is
actually
50 foot
heard, I
buffer
think,
right here.
Yeah,
but again, that wetland, is taken off of the, state.
Yeah.
And there may not be, is dead on accurate,
right.
and so, Justin's plan was to
Have
have
a
a come over in the
map.
spring, we'll meet with the state and find out
Okay.
exactly where that falls, and if we do further work, we do further work.
Okay. It looks like you've got a little bit of play of where you put the house.
We have flexibility as to how, yeah, and that actual position isn't really our preferred, setup. We're probably thinking that we'll probably just tilt it a little bit. I would say as you're looking at it, tilting a little bit, from
So
the
you-
left side up.
So you're driving more straight onto the house.
Well, you can get up in here.
It wouldn't be, I would.
Yeah, but he's just saying angle the house,
Oh, yeah.
you
Yeah, up a
know,
little bit or so.
so it's not so square with the property line, but more
Right.
square with the driveway. If you were driving in, you could like drive straight into your garage instead of going in and around. Do you have questions?
I do not, I just wanted to see it. I'm on Hopkins Place. Sort of right across there to field there.
And I think Mark is on, who's
Oh,
the neighbor right
Yeah,
there.
Hi Doug,
I think,
Brian's here with me as well.
Evening, folks.
Our question is, I think that dotted line that goes around our property is probably the setback, is that correct?
the blue dotted line.
No,
no,
the line that cuts like,
Dotted line that just
Right
kind
here.
of follows
Yeah,
property
yes.
lines?
yes,
That would be, yeah,
So it looks like that driveway and certainly that bump out is, a huge portion of it is in our setbacks,
yeah, right through here.
which just makes it awfully close to our house or our property. So not loving the placement of the driveway.
I see what you're saying. A right of way for a road can actually be right on the property line. That's actually quite common. And they've got a stream they're button up against there, so I'm not sure there's a lot of room to play, but there may be a little.
Well, the bump out probably doesn't need to be there.
down a
Right.
little farther, or it doesn't need to be there at all.
No, I mean, if they can get back to the 800-foot, they don't need a bump out at all
Okay,
from what we are establishing in the driveway standards.
okay.
What's the bump out, folks? What's the bump out for?
It was for fire vehicles, so they could,
Pass each other.
Gotcha. Yeah, still should be on the other side of our setback line.
Well, again, they're not actually showing a 60-foot right of way on there, but we allow the right of ways to be up against the property lines. It's buildings and that kind of stuff that you can't build in the setback, so. I'm not sure if that is a map, yeah, it is a map stream, so they actually have a setback from the stream, so they may not actually be able to put their road there. Cause there should be a buffer on that stream if it's a map stream.
Yeah. That was our next question, was like, what's the rule for the stream that's there?
I mean, that stream,
If it-
after so many years, it gets wide, just like a normal ditch, like in any pasture.
Mhm.
And it's to the point now, I mean, it's getting wide again. I think Mr. Gamache a few years ago had it dug out. So it was centered down through the whole ditch, but it's working this, you know, it widens up like a wetlands, you know what I mean?
Right, so any stream that's on the state map, which that one, according to the label, is a mapped stream, will have a 50-foot buffer, so. And the road won't be able to be in the 50-foot buffer without them paying a fine, so it may actually make sense for them to put the road on the other side and do a crossing, and that would move it away from there.
So there, it's about 65 feet from our property line to that stream. Roughly.
So they don't have a buffer there then.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, because that's a 50-foot buffer.
right, they've
there,
got the
so-
buffer on that, but they
Yeah,
don't have it
so
on
they
the
don't have
stream.
it. There's no buffer.
Not enough room there, so.
And this is just a statement, like I'm surprised to know that you can do a 4-household dwelling, just because everything down here is single family, so that was just a surprise to me. Like, there's nothing I can do about it, I don't love it, there's nothing I can do about it, but it just surprised me. I guess I need to look at the zoning laws.
Well, that's AR2.
We actually have a lot of areas where you're allowed to do multi-household dwellings, but not too many people build them. But the state certainly is pushing for them because we need so much more housing.
Yeah. Well, like everyone else, I prefer it was in someone else's backyard, but you know, that's the way it
Yeah,
is.
I hear you, I hear you. I don't know what's in between your as far as landscaping, like in your yard to block the road and or the view of the house. Landscaping is part of our planning, so you know, if you would like more screening, that's something we could ask for.
That would be lovely.
That'd be great.
Across the back of our.
It's hard
property.
to see what's there right now, but it looks like there's a few trees there now, so, you know,
Yeah,
we could ask
that's it.
them to
Yep.
fill in a little more. Is that, you understand what I'm trying to say there?
Yeah, the tree line.
Yeah, there's 8 pine trees on that side where the road's proposed to go to, yeah. But
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean, if the road gets moved to the other side of the stream, it's not so much of a big deal, but if it's gonna stay where it is, it would be nice to have some more trees there.
and the screening.
Okay.
Screening in the back.
And the screening in the back would be lovely if that's an option.
But with the wetland, you're probably gonna have to pull this driveway from up here, right?
yeah, I really don't know. This map is really hard for me to visualize
It is
because it's so small, you know, I don't know, just because of the way it is. I can't grasp how distance is on this, so
Well, the lines are very difficult to follow.
it may be their best option where it is and just pay the fine to go into the buffer as opposed to having to cross that. Then it may cost them a lot more to move it and cross. But if they don't, we'll make sure that there's more screening there for you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
May I just ask who enforces the buffer? I mean, so you could just, there's supposed to be a buffer and just pay a fine. I mean, I don't have a dog in this particular fight. I just.
Okay, so the state has wetland and buffer rules, and then the town has wetland and buffer rules. And if you want to, sometimes there's, say, an existing farm road that already crosses a stream.
I'm sorry to interrupt. There is
That's an existing, okay, so here's an example, an existing farm road. So the state likes you to use existing roads as opposed to doing another curb cut.
Yeah.
You know, impacting more land, but farmers don't have to pay any fine, they can do whatever they want. I like farmers, I am a farmer, I'm not. But there's different rules for farmers. But if you're gonna put in a development, then you have to meet the setbacks for wetlands and streams. if you can't for some reason and you have to, what they call impact them, so your road is going to go into the wetland or the buffer, then the state fines you a certain amount, or I don't know if they actually call it a fine, but you have to pay a fee for that impact, and that goes to the state, and they use it to set aside other wetlands somewhere else in the state to preserve more wetlands. The town doesn't gain anything from it, but that's how it works.
Now, if they have to do that, do they have to do some sort of mitigation so that to protect? that wetland?
Sometimes the mitigation happens right on the property, and sometimes it happens
Right.
somewhere else.
I know, but I mean, like, if you had to put a road right through a buffer strip, you gotta make sure that the wetland doesn't get bigger right there.
Oh, right. Yeah, they have
It's not
to
just
put
dumping
the,
gravel. and doing
right.
it, you gotta-
yeah, there's a lot of rules about how they have to do it, yeah.
Yeah, we just.
Or if they're putting in a culvert through a wetland, it has to be a certain size so the animals can go through it still, and then, you know, all those kind of things, so. It's a little harder to build a road where you're going through a wetland, certainly. We want it to be harder, so you try not
The
to.
wetland buffer.
And there may be a way that they can squeeze it in there, I'm not really sure. They have a 60-foot right of way, they don't have to build the road right in the middle of it, they have the flexibility to build it wherever the road in that 60 feet with 2-foot shoulders, so.
So just, and I know you might not be able to answer that, but just so I understand, right now, you're saying if there's an existing farm road that's on I'm gonna get my directionals, but closer to the Bishard's property, then
That's
you
generally
might
the
be able to
preferred,
have-
yeah.
use that road, even if it encroaches on the buffer.
yes. But see, if they built it on the other side of that stream, they'd have to cross, so they'd be encroaching on it.
right there.
They'd be impacting it either way. So this may be the better because it's already existing.
So there was a farm road on this side of it?
Oh, yeah, no, that's how the field were accessed before. The current guy has been cutting them, you come in right through there, cross right there where you found it.
You come from the north side of it, or you?
Right along the Bishard property,
Oh, right here,
right along the Bishard property, and then,
Okay.
cross
there and go up.
the, and, yeah.
It just doesn't show a road. And
There was well, I mean, it doesn't necessarily show a road because, the current
It's
farmer
field.
has got bigger equipment. And he sometimes uses it, but doesn't use it as frequently as, Rick and I used to use it. Rick and I used to go in and out of there that way.
Okay.
And then, Sean Oben, who cuts the field now, has bigger equipment, so it's, he comes
You
up
can see
actually
it,
to my
Cause
driveway.
it goes out quite a ways and then crosses the stream way out further, right?
Well,
Yeah.
he found it on here.
yeah, it's right here, Google Maps there.
I got it.
They cut-
And I was thinking it comes down, but he said the road comes south of the stream and that cuts there. To go up.
It looks like it goes through.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the big road is basically the way the farmers used to come in and out to hay.
Yeah.
Right, just a packed down area
For the most part.
mostly.
Just a general comment, the Hotchkiss Place development drains through a drainage swale in, that crosses my yard and goes across, the Harris property. So it comes in there, so I have a concern that somehow it doesn't get, the whole system doesn't get mucked up, but I don't, since there's buffer concerns and wetland concerns, I don't see that being.
So I see the Harris property, oh, Hotchkiss is the
Yeah,
north.
so on this, I'm bad about my directions, but I guess that's north.
Yeah.
You go east. Well, the actual common property that makes us the interested parties, is further north. But the development, right, that's the common area.
Yeah.
But the homes, which are not individually interested parties in this, it's from there that the water drains.
So you're talking off of Plains Road. Is that where you're the
Yeah.
first development on Plains Road there?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I see. I definitely see the drainage. Comes
Um,
out of your development and across
Well, this is all
the
uphill.
Harris.
Right.
Right,
So that is the stream that we're talking about.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
Okay. That-
exactly.
That stream flows west,
Southwest, yeah.
southwest.
Yeah.
I think we go towards the lake, yeah.
It's really more of like a drainage ditch, like when the snow melts and things like that versus a, spring fed stream, but therein lies.
But clearly there's, more than half a dozen houses that are feeding their, runoff towards that.
And I just have to say, I was envisioning 2 homes on that open area that's to the north of there, so I'm very excited about this. No, I'm sorry, I was envisioning that where the words prop lot 3A,
Yeah.
32 plus, I thought there were gonna be 2 big.
Big houses in the middle of the field.
You know,
I can't tell you what the visual break, but I can tell you that right now I have no
Yeah.
place to do that, and it's really just, something to do with,
Yep.
this rental property that.
Got it, understood.
Any more questions?
Okay, I'm sorry, it's not about the project, just procedurally, what happens next?
This is sketch, right?
Yeah.
We've done so many. There'll be another hearing. He'll get a letter from us saying things that we recommend, and then he'll get another hearing. He can bring in a completely different plan or the same plan that's been tweaked a little bit, whichever he wants. And you will be invited because you're an interested party.
That'll be, this only have this in final.
Right,
The
just
next one will
one,
be a final.
it'll be one more hearing, because he's just making 2 lots. If you're making more lots, you have
Yeah.
more hearings, so one more hearing for this one. It won't be, it'll probably be a month and a half, 2 months away at least.
We can't even get it until May. It's
We're
right now.
crazy busy this year, so. Greg, you got any more?
Nope.
B-Charge, are you okay?
You've answered our questions. Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
You're welcome. Okay, well,
Motion to close here.
Second.
all in favor?
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
It wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
You have me.
Still got a long way to go, but we got through all our hearings.
Put all your papers away yet. Don't put all your papers away yet.
I know. Oh, you think we're done?
Yeah.
I'm organizing, that's all.
Okay, thank you.
Good night. So is there anything else in?
Yeah, we need to do that little thing that we added there. So,
You want
daycare is not one of the uses in our use table. It is in the use table as a home occupation. You could put a daycare in your house, but daycare itself was not put into our use table as far as where it's permitted and where it's not permitted. We can build an auto garage in certain zones in town and not in others. Well, daycare is not on the list. So that means it falls in other. And if it falls in other, the DRB and the planning commission have to jointly agree on whether it fits. So in AR. Right across from Bob's Gun Shop. Old Stage Road, which I think is AR3, that's AR3? Old Stage?
Air, see what I think. Maybe it is air.
Yeah,
Anyway,
there's a proposed daycare that is not gonna be a home occupation, and so you just need to say, yes, that makes sense that it fits there, or no, that it doesn't not. whether it fits that exact property, but does it make sense in that zone?
We don't have any language.
Right. So we've just looked at what other towns have done and some of the other towns we found have written ordinances around daycares. So the planning commission may end up doing that, but we haven't even talked about it yet. It's just something that somebody proposed. We need to get the okay from the DRB that it makes sense to think about allowing it there, or we don't want to allow it. That's pretty much all we want to do at this point.
Now, specific area or has AR3
It
zone?
doesn't matter what zone it's in, it's more of, well, I guess you can make it specific to the
I
zone,
think we
but
should talk about it in that zone, because
yeah, but the other, well, if you wanna do that, you should look at for every zone, because most of our regs are AR1, AR2, AR3, whether
that is
they're
true.
conditional use with a site plan typically. Kind of like,
All
you
right,
know.
so let me pull up our regs and see if we can find.
Just by bringing up, that stage.
I think we should look into it for all the zones, I guess, or for the
Well,
ones that it pertains to.
right, that's what I pull up our use table here. The use table didn't come up. Right here at the beginning. And they say, you know, you can compare it to some other similar use, but what's a similar use to a daycare?
Yeah, that's
you know?
AR3, right?
We do have, schools in the use table.
Yeah, we have schools, there's one other one that it could.
What about
fall
elder
under,
care?
but
Is that a similar thing?
We're not, the thing with the
That's true.
daycares is, it's by number of students that they have. So a lot of the regs have like our current reg for homeowners has, I think, 7 and.
Up to 7 and
And
then
then
over
plus
7.
over 7. I mean, you can only have up to 25 before you trigger water, a bunch of other stuff at the state level.
So when the daycare was at the previously, and how'd that work? Did that,
They must have had it.
I believe that must have been grandfathered before
Yeah.
we did uses or something. I'm not really sure. So, right, damn, here's the table. Okay, so land uses, residential. Building, commercial uses. So schools are allowed as a conditional use in AR1, permitted in AR2 and 3, conditional in South Village. I think pretty much everything is conditional in South Village. Permitted in business, conditional in industrial, conditional in rural, conditional in natural, conditional in lake. Okay, that's
Are
crazy.
you trying to label it as a school?
No, I'm just saying that's something similar to look at.
Right.
so what are you asking for tonight? Just if we should look into it?
Well,
No,
we have-
we want, I think we should say these are zones that it should be conditional in, these are zones that it should be permitted in.
So we have in the regs, there's basically a clause that says anything that's not listed could be used, but in order to do that, the DRB has to make a recommendation to the planning commission that, yes, we think we should do this. And let planning come back with a plan around that, but it has to stem from the DRB to let planning do that.
Just so the two boards are both weighing in on it.
So if we say it should be in one zone and then we decide before the planning commission gets done their meetings that it shouldn't be, because for whatever reason, you know, we locked into.
No, I don't think so. I think planning's gonna write something up. And we can bring it back and show the DRB what we propose if you want that.
I mean, I'm just thinking if we say, okay, you can do it in this zone here and then.
According to the regs, planning makes the rules and DRB follows the rules. In this case, what it says is that the DRB is requesting that the planning make a rule around this because we don't.
Okay,
So in that case, then planning will make a rule.
Yeah, you could just say, planning, do what you want and hopefully it makes
We don't
sense.
have anything around commercial daycare make a rule around commercial daycare. Or if you don't want them to make a rule around commercial daycare, that ends that.
Well, I think we should have something, I'm sorry if we don't. but-
I know, it always surprises me, the things that come up.
That was the issue. when we
When
went
we
through it.
refer to something like that, when we refer to something like that as conditional, do we have any like listings as to what would make it a conditional okay or a non-okay?
Well, I think a lot of times it has to do with the actual property, you know? Like if you're trying to put a business and they don't have good sight lines, or they don't have enough parking, or they don't have, you know, the daycare is gonna need land for a play area and things like that, you know, you can build a house, but it doesn't necessarily make that house suitable for a business later on. So I think that's why we have conditional on a lot of these things, because yeah, it makes sense in that area, but not specifically every single lot in that zone.
Conditional.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I realize that the making it conditional makes it that we can discuss the proposition or the proposal, but it would be nice to have some sort of clue for later consideration as to what those conditions might be, the preferable and the non-preferable.
Well, and that's what planning's gonna do with this, is you guys can write, and I do have a couple of documents that I pulled out.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard, Greg, there are some towns that have ordinances around daycares. We're gonna look at what they've done with their ordinances, and that might set some conditions.
Okay.
All of that is in that online file when you log in. I'm gonna put another plug in for that.
Dangling the bait here, I don't know, this is.
So what do you,
We do it as a motion to
look into it?
have planning.
To allow the
develop
planning
it.
to develop the plan around daycare.
So I make a motion that we ask planning to look into making a plan for daycare in our town, Georgia. Is that all right?
That sounds good. Does somebody want to second that? Any more discussion on this? Any place that you think daycares don't belong? This is the only thing I'm thinking about is the traffic. You're generating a lot of traffic because they're not riding the bus. Some of them may be riding the bus some of the time, but a lot of the time they're either getting dropped off and or picked up, you know, probably
Morning and night.
almost every single one in a separate vehicle. So, in my opinion, some of these zones may not be as, it's compatible, yeah. You want a
Like
bunch of
industrial
traffic
zone.
in AR1 zone when you could put it in a more densely populated, where more of the people are probably going to be living. Or like N1, where you have huge lot sizes, you know, do you want people going up, you know, Blake Road to get to their daycare? Or, yeah, or Bobat. I think they should be more in the, you know, the more populated zones.
Should keep them
It's
closer.
odd
to
that it's conditional and natural.
You know, and I was surprised to see that schools are allowed in the business zone, but the business zones in our town are right along Route 7, so that might be where you want them. Do we want them in the industrial park? Probably not. I don't really think that we want everybody driving to an industrial park to drop off their kids and pick them up.
You are doing something like that.
Well, having one for your business, makes sense. I guess maybe that's why some of these are allowed.
I was thinking about what you said about, well, you said about having it on Bobat Road. You're definitely gonna want something where parents are gonna come in and leave. They wanna drop off their kids so that they go to work. So they're not gonna wanna fight an unpaved road or an upgrade road,
Or
especially
it's
in
like
winter
you get off
time.
industrial
We've
road.
been on both that road before.
the 911, we were out there.
Oh. Cause Harrison built their own daycare. So, you know, I guess some of these, we could say, with the exception of a business daycare, you know, having those in some of
Well,
these.
but that's
other
what you're doing
zones.
is a business daycare. That's what you're
No,
proposing.
no.
On-site.
I mean,
business.
on-site.
Well,
business.
but these aren't, well, no, because they're not, well, the Catamount one is a separate building. At the entrance, there's Teddy Bear Factory, for instance, they have one at the entrance to Teddy Bear Factory, and that's
Right.
mostly for their employees.
So that's why I'm saying some of these districts we may, or zones, we may want to allow them with the exception, they're not
Right.
daycares for the whole
For the
town.
town,
They're
right,
daycares specifically
Yeah.
if a business wanted to build a daycare.
Yeah.
So that would be their condition, would be tied to a business.
Right. Like Arrowhead Industrial, could put one in
Right, right.
there.
But it wouldn't make sense to have everybody drive their kids there.
I just will say this because I live on Ballard Road and that road is busy. I can wait for 20, 30 cars to go by my house before I can pull out of my driveway some mornings. And then getting onto Route 7.
So we tell you there's one across the street from me.
But the development going across the street from you did a traffic study. They've done a traffic study
Yeah.
already, and they have shown there will be no impact from the, what is it, 140 units or something?
Yeah, well,
total
it's
in
a
there?
30, it's a 30 unit, that's a 30 child daycare right there.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about the
Oh,
residential.
The whole
It's-
residential, yeah.
It's well over 100
Yeah.
units.
Oh, yeah, I already knew.
They'll
about
have
that.
no impact, no impact on.
That's gonna have a major impact because
I
our infrastructure can't handle that.
don't know who did their traffic study, but.
Or when they did it, right?
But anyway, we're not talking about that. We do have a motion on the floor, and it sounds like we're just sending it to planning to make some wise choices. Is that right?
Right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, now we have minutes that we just got to take a minute to read those.
Yeah.
They'll just knock everything over. Looks like she's playing roulette out there, pushing every button.
I can't believe how hot the water, it's almost boiling that comes out of that thing.
Yeah, ours that works the same way.
It's awesome.
The machine,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great.
I think you need a few more electronic gadgets out there though. What the heck is that thing on the end that makes French fries or whatever?
Oh, yeah, the air fryer.
Huge,
Oh, they got a George Foreman grill underneath, they
I
cook
know.
burgers out here.
way too much stuff.
Oh, my husband got me an air fryer, like I really needed that. It's so big.
Yeah,
The first time I cooked a steak in one, I was sold.
Really? I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, we use ours.
But it takes up a lot of space.
I mean, it's not there.
Yep. Oh, yeah, it's wonderful. So this is from a previous meeting.
You can just abstain if you
That's
did.
what I was gonna say, I was gonna
You
abstain
didn't
because I.
watch the tape or anything. Yeah.
Well, I also
No,
know
that
some
was the
people,
point.
so.
I'll just consolidate.
You'll find you'll know a lot of people.
Okay. You're the person left that can second, or Greg.
Could be, I second.
Glenn wasn't here, so, and she wasn't either. All right, you have any comments, Greg? Or do you even
Nope.
have them? I don't know.
Nope, don't even have the minute. That's
Okay, all in favor of the minutes as written.
I,
And anybody abstaining?
Me, Glenn,
Chuck,
Okay. Good. I think now we can go into deliberative.
Motion to go into deliberative.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So I just wanted to mention the plan for the new business in the South Village. But that's another one that really doesn't fit our use table at all. Moving the huts down, whatever that's called.
Oh, yeah.
So the mountain, what are they called? Magic Mountain, Maple Mountain.
Green Mountain, no, we're not Green Mountain Shed,
Something-
it's McCracken's shed place out here.
Oh, yeah.
They,
Oh,
yeah,
No,
hold
we're
on, actually.
shut down.
cut
Rock.
off up there.
Oh, I don't know, he's gonna shut.
Whoops.
Are we still on Zoom?
He's shutting down the.
Yeah,
Zoom,
one second.
but,
I gotta.